It was a Tuesday afternoon, and I was at work, and I knew this day was coming, and the time was now. I picked up my purse, gathered my keys. I walked down that hallway, past the offices that I had passed day in and day out, and I walked into the sunset. It was the day that I decided to take my courage back. It's the day that I decided to take a leap of faith and lean in to being the entrepreneur that I am. It was scary, but I did it, and you can too. It was scary, but I knew it was something that I could accomplish. I knew it was something I could accomplish because I had the faith and the courage that had always been in me. Being on that job, being in my career, had suppressed that courage. I had found myself dependent on a paycheck. I know you have too. A paycheck, because it's regular, I can count on it. It's every 2 weeks. There's a confidence and a comfort that will keep us living small. And we're all here to live big. We're all here to live creatively, to be creators, right? And what I want to encourage you to do is to be creative. And where I find my creative energy is in the Word of God. And today, what I want to bring to you is an example of 3 powerful biblical women that always resonates with me to help me find my own path. And I think you can find your own path. So I'm going to share just a little bit with you about Sarah, Ruth, and Esther and the power they have in their journeys to help us move forward. Sarah is a story, an example of faith and vision. And we know we always have it, but sometimes we steer away from it. But we have to learn how to get back to the faith, to the vision that we originally had for our lives. What is God's promise for your life? Do you ever ask yourself that? What's the promise of my life? What's the vision that wakes me up in the morning? The thing that I really want to do, the thing that makes my heart sing, but I haven't done it. And then you ask yourself, why haven't you done it? You haven't done it because you have a 2-week paycheck. You haven't done it because you think you have to be a good mom, a good wife, or a good husband, or a good dad, and there's no time for your dream, for your vision. That's how Sarah introduced Hagar and Ishmael into the story. But I'll let you go and read that story. Because in the beginning and in the end, God had a promise on her life. And God told her that you will have a child. Sarah laughed because she was already up in age, beyond childbearing years, and she thought it would never happen. Sometimes that dream you have in your heart, you think will never happen. You think, I have to stay in this job until the kids graduate. You think I have to stay in this field because I'm this close to retirement. I don't know what's keeping you there, but what I can promise you, what I can encourage you is that if you lean in, God is faithful, and He's only asking you to trust Him and be faithful as well. My Sarah moment came to the realization in 2019 when I told you I picked up my purse and I walked down that hall and I looked around and I could see people that I cared about. I could see contributions to an organization that I made. I felt like my thumbprint was there. But I promise you, it didn't make my heart sing. I'm an educator by training, but I'm a gifted teacher by God. And I've always been a teacher. I can make complex topics simple. I can make the mucky things very clear. I have an entrepreneurial spirit, and so I apply logic. I think of supply and demand. I think of impact. But as a first generation college graduate, what I knew, or what I thought I knew, was how to become a teacher. So I started my career as a teacher. And then I moved to a building administrator and a district administrator. I was even a charter school founder before moving into this national vice president role. Yep, national vice president. And I walked away. It didn't make my heart sing. And I'm not even sure if it was on my purpose, if it was in my purpose anymore. Because at some point, you're doing the work because you know how to do the work. Have you ever experienced that? Like the thing that used to give you a lot of joy, you can do it as a rote routine kind of thing, and there's no joy in it. It takes courage to say, I want to embrace the joy and then put something behind it, right? When you put something behind the joy and you pursue it, you're holding on to that promise. You're leaning into your faith. And so what I want to do is invite you to be courageous and step into that faith. Activate your faith. Faith is active. Faith comes by hearing. Faith without works is dead. So you have to take action on your faith. Now, as I said, Sarah got a little distracted, and sometimes we will too. But at the end, God gave her Isaac, and Isaac means laughter. Isaac means joy, right? So he's going to give you the joy of your heart if you trust him. If you step into the courage to trust him, to lean in, go back to a childlike faith, but step in it with an adult-like courage, meaning put some strategies and some business plans behind it. The business tip that I want to give you that I learned from Sarah is delay does not mean denial, right? You have to write the vision and make it plain. Habakkuk 2:2 says, write the vision and make it plain. Make a plan as to how you can lean into that faith. Like, God didn't want you to have blind faith, and you don't have to be blindly courageous. I mean, like, if I go jump off of a mountain, don't come follow me. That's not what I want for your life. That's not what God wants for your life. And I'm pretty sure it's not what you want for your life. But if I'm climbing a mountain and you see that I have my safety belt and you see I have the right tools, that I've checked the elevation, that I have a proper guide, why wouldn't you follow me? Follow me. That's what I want you to do. Follow your path, get your safety belt, get your crew, check the elevation, decide which mountain you want to climb, and then step out. Step out on your faith, right? And so when you write it down, I want you to keep it in front of you and visit it often. And when you visit it often, you're going to challenge yourself to ask, is this aligned with my why? That's a great book. Start with your why. Simon Sinek, great reference, right? When you start with your why, that gives you the purpose. That's going to clarify for you. We always talk about clarity, alignment, and discipline. When you go back to getting clear on what your purpose is and you've written it down, you can make decisions against it. When it gets a little rough and you know you've just reached the next peak of the elevation, and yes, a little fear might come in, but you can say, I'm doing this because. I'm doing this to create this impact. I'm doing this because I want to see the mountaintop view of my life, not because I want to stay safe in the valley. You're too big to stay safe in the valley. You're too blessed, and there's too many promises on your life to stay safe in the valley. I stayed in the valley a long time. Yep, I did. So in my fear, I got a PhD, I got a master's degree, so I could be enough. So I could do what I thought the world wanted me to do. But when I got courageous and leaned into my Sarah faith, I put it on the shelf. I said, I'm a child of God. I'm a creative. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a great mother. I am a great wife. I'm a great friend. I'm a great sister. And I can do that and build the life that I want. I think that's what I'm inviting you to do. I want you to build the life that you want and have the faith to believe that you can have it. Why anchor your life in uncertainty? Filter your big picture. You don't have to do that. It's not necessary to go it alone, actually. It's really not. I can help you. I can help you because I've been down this journey. I know what it feels like to live beneath your blessing. How about that? What if we call it that? What if it's living beneath the courage, the faith, the gift that you have? And you just need somebody to guide you along the way. A coach can do that. If you want someone to help you see your bigger picture or rediscover your courage or even find your voice so that you can do the things that make your heart sing, I can help you with that. Now I want to tell you about Ruth. Ruth is really my girl. Ruth is like the most loyal friend, sister, team member you can have. Now, I know I said with Sarah, I picked up my purse, my keys, and I walked out. Ruth is that ride or die chick, right? She is going to stick. Ruth demonstrates loyalty and growth, staying faithful in the process when you don't really know what the process is. So, yes, I walked away from what was a systematic job, a consistent salary, a career that I had built brick by brick to go into the field. You see, Ruth said, I'm going to go where you go. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. She said, where you die, I will die. That's a ride or die chick. We need some of these people in our lives, but we also need to be that person for ourselves. So Ruth decided that she, by Naomi's side, which is get wise counsel, decided that she would go to Boaz's field. She didn't know who Boaz was, but it turns out that Boaz was kindred. He was family. He was a provider, right? But she didn't know that. She said that I will humbly go and I will work until I find favor. And that's what she did. So she was strategic and she was committed. And when she came back to share with Naomi where she had been and what field she had been in, Naomi said, oh, you have found favor amongst our people. And I also should tell you that Ruth was not amongst her people. She was amongst her deceased husband's people. Naomi was her mother-in-law. But when you're in good company, know good company, recognize good company, and stay with good company. And Ruth proved herself to be a good daughter-in-law. She proved herself to be a good sister. That's what we're looking for. Teammates, commitment, loyalty, people that we can grow with. Because Ruth was on a journey. She was on a journey where she had to go and humble herself to work in the field because now she was a widow and she promised to stick with her mother-in-law. So you have to stick with the journey. You have to trust the process. Now, my journey, I started out as a teacher. I was a university instructor. And as I told you, I worked in the district. I founded a charter school because I knew I was a teacher. But in the field, God was developing me for the business of education. I wrote multi-million-dollar grants and contracts and led teams. But I didn't know that I was in the field. I was doing the work. I was gathering the knowledge. And that made me loyal. That made me committed to the craft. And that's what I'm inviting you to do. Do you sometimes feel like being committed to the craft challenges you? Challenges you to show up every day, show up in a way that produces outcomes that you may never be Teacher of the Year. You may never win the company award, but you're going to show up and do the work every day until you find favor. And favor will come. The righteous have never been forsaken. So what I want to do is give you a few tips, a few strategies. And one of the resources, and you can find it in the link, is the 12-week plan. It's a great book. And I use it with my coaching clients because what I want you to do is have short, small, successful wins. And the 12-week plan, the 12-week year, teaches you to set short goals so that you can take actionable steps, so there can be urgency around the actions you take. So, for instance, if you're setting a 12-week goal for your business, I only want you to set one, maybe three goals tops. But maybe your goal is to get 5 new clients or to launch a new product in this particular quarter. 12 weeks is 1 quarter, 3 days, 3 months, 90 days. You can stick with that. I want you to find the commitment to stick to 90 days, right? So how do you do that? You set just a few goals, 1 to 3 goals, and then you're going to break them into actionable steps. So if you want 5 new clients, then you're going to have to decide how many prospect calls do I need to make? How many prospect calls do I need to make each day? And how many prospect calls do I need to make each week in order to convert these clients? And once you start doing that, you're going to build your muscle. You're going to build your muscle of loyalty, of faith, of faithfulness, of work ethic, that I'm moving this vision forward, a small step at a time. So you make 10 calls today, you get 8 no's. But guess what? You got 2 yeses. And that's what you're striving for. Small wins. And then evaluate and adjust on a regular basis every week. Ruth would go back and tell Naomi every day, this is what happened, and get new counsel and find out what she needed to do the next day. And so when you evaluate on a regular basis, you can make adjustments more quickly. You know how they say fail fast? So that you can redo, you can adjust, right? You don't want to take a loss for the whole year and realize, oh, we lost X amount of dollars, or we didn't secure enough clients, right? So regularly evaluate your efforts so that you can pivot, you can adjust, you can tweak. And then invest in your growth in this 12-week period. Invest in learning what it is that you need to know. My 90-day plan for quarter 1 is to bring you a YouTube video every week. I'm going to have to learn how to be on camera better, with more confidence. I'm going to have to learn if you're engaging with me. And really, I'd appreciate if you engage in this one. Drop a note below, comment below to let me know how this resonates with you. Or if you want to have a one-on-one, jump over to my Instagram and DM me, and we can chat there, because I promise you, taking actionable steps when your intuition tells you to act on it is going to get you much further down the road. So we can sharpen your skills together. Don't wait, don't delay. Well, if you wait or delay, it's because you're going to listen to this again and say, I want to talk to this lady again. I want to have this conversation, because this is what I want YouTube to be for us, a conversation where you can pour into me and I can pour into you. Because if you pick up your purse and walk out, I can tell you what it feels like on the other side. Esther, she's courageous. She was an all or nothing kind of woman. She said, for such a time as this, if I perish, I perish. Right? That's all in. That's if this doesn't work, I don't have a plan B. Have you ever locked in on anything like that, where there's no plan B? You're going to ride it till the wheels fall off. You're going to lock in on it. What I know for sure is that when you lock in on opportunities, when you lock in on the plan, it will put you in new opportunities. It'll put you in places and rooms that you might not feel qualified to enter. Esther said when her uncle Mordecai, I was going to call him Mordecai, She was probably mortified, but Mordecai said, you're the one. You're chosen for this. You're built for this. You can do this, right? And I don't know that Esther initially believed that, but she accepted the assignment. How do they say it? She understood the assignment. Have you ever been in a room where you did not feel quite qualified? Like maybe you were the only one? I felt like that. I remember early in my career, I was the only female, only brown female, youngest person. There's a lot of that in my career because I know God uses me as a vessel. So sometimes I've had early entree to places because he was pouring into me so I could pour into others, which I'm hoping I'm doing that for you today. But this is what I wanted to tell you. Early in my career, I was in education and at the district level. And I felt sometimes intimidated. I used to call it the $1,000,000 table because I would be in with the chiefs, the chief of staff and the chief of operations and the chief of this and the chief of that. You know, like this is the early 2000s and everybody in the room was already making $150,000. And as I told you, I'm a first year college graduate, so that was a lot of money to me at that time. And so everybody was older, everybody was more experienced, and I'm at the table. So I felt like Esther. I needed the king to raise the scepter to say, you can speak or you're in. But I didn't know that. And I would speak and I would contribute and it would be crickets. Sometimes like they didn't hear me. But I had the courage to continue to show up to fulfill my assignment because as an educator, I mostly contributed to underperforming schools and hard to reach communities, urban communities. And so I felt like if I didn't bring a voice, there wasn't going to be a voice. So I had to show up, and that's what Esther did. My moment, my Esther moment, was in 2006. I'm in my stable career with my retirement benefits, and I decided to venture into charter schools because I decided that I could hear God have the call on my life, that I could help him build something that would open doors and windows for kids that who didn't have doors and windows and open to. I could help families change their trajectories. So I left that job too. I know I told you I left the 2019 job, but I left the 2006 job too because I've always been in pursuit of my purpose. That's what I want to encourage you to do. Be in pursuit of your purpose. So in business, sometimes you have to leave what's familiar. Sometimes you have to pivot to what's calling you, to what's higher and to what's bigger, right? So I knew the public education system. I had been in it for years. I'm telling you, I'm at the $1,000,000 table. I'm contributing to $1,000,000 grants. I'm making things happen for a large pool of kids, but the work is being diluted, right? It's not reaching the kids that I think would be most impacted. And so, how I said, go back to your why, I had to go back to my why and ask, why did God gift me this way? Why did he gift me with the talent of teaching? Why has he now added the skills of business education to me? How do I build education? And where can I use this to be even more impactful? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to take an inventory of your skills and measure them against your values, your why, and put yourself in the place where you can have the greatest impact. And the greatest impact does not mean without you generating revenue. So let's be clear. Your business does not have to be sacrificial because you are a believer. Your business, God is a God of abundance. So he's going to pour into you. It says from your overflow, my cup runneth over. So he's going to give you enough that you can give others. He's not going to ask you to be without or to have less sufficiency. To grow so that you have an overflowing cup, in business, you have to take some steps. Number one is you have to develop your skills. And so I'm going to challenge you to take 30 minutes a day and learn a new skill or polish the skill that you have. Believe it or not, in trying to grow this, not trying, fix your vocabulary too. Speaking to the positive. So in growing this YouTube channel, I have to spend, I'm going to challenge you to spend 30 minutes a day or maybe an hour. But I have to spend daily time in learning what works on YouTube. I have to spend time daily learning about what it is that you want to talk about. Learning and auditing what is it that I know that I feel like I can be an expert to bring to you. Because I want to show up in excellence with quality every time that we speak. That's step number one. Develop your professional skills. Step number two is habit stacking. So what's habit stacking? There are some things that you do routinely, a habit, like your morning coffee, right? I know you're not giving it up. I'm not giving up mine. Maybe yours is tea, but you're not giving it up. So those 10 minutes that you're enjoying your morning coffee, look over your goals, right? The habit of having a nice cup of coffee with the habit of planning your day. And when you do that, when you finish your coffee and you go to your workspace, or if you're still, driving into an office, you're ready and you're prepared because you have set a partial morning routine. A small habit stack, 10 minutes, coffee and goal setting. Number three, build momentum. Now, how do you build momentum? You build momentum by celebrating the small wins. On the 12-week plan, I want you to evaluate your progress on a weekly basis. You should be accountable to your own success. When you audit how you're progressing through the week, what daily actions you're taking, then you could adjust more quickly with more confidence as to what's working and what's not working before it becomes an epic fail. And that's what we want to avoid. How can you avoid an epic fail? You can avoid an epic fail by measuring the data, reviewing the data. So number one is invest in yourself, professional development. Number two is habit stacking. And number three is building momentum on small wins by paying attention to the data, paying attention to the weekly evaluation. Those are the lessons of Esther. This is a powerful framework for strategic visioning and leadership. Sarah, she teaches you all about the commitment to purpose and faith and staying in your purpose. Ruth says trust the process, stick through the journey, be humble and do the work. And Esther, my girl, challenges you on courage. Do the courage, because even if you perish, you will win. Just do it, and I can help you.